Captain Jake Morrison stared out the window of his ship as they approached the massive space station. The U's Liberty had traveled farther from Earth than any human ship before. Now they floated near Nexus Prime, a city-sized structure that sparkled, with lights from a dozen different alien civilizations. "Captain, we're getting their docking instructions," said Lieutenant Amy Chun from her control station. Her voice carried excitement mixed with nervousness. This was humanity's first real meeting with the Galactic Council. Dr. Lisa Carter pressed her face to another window, watching strange ships drift past them. Some looked like living creatures with flowing tentacles. Others appeared to be made of pure crystal that bent light in impossible ways. "Jake, look at that one," she whispered, pointing at a ship that seemed to phase in and out of reality. Ambassador Claire Davis straightened her formal uniform and checked her notes one more time. She had studied every piece of information Earth had gathered about these alien species. The weight of representing all humanity pressed down on her shoulders. "Remember, everyone stays calm and professional. We're here to prove that humans deserve a place in galactic society." The Liberty docked with a soft thud. Through the airlock came their first alien visitor, a tall being that looked like it was made of flowing energy contained in a transparent suit. Its voice came through their translators as musical notes. "Welcome, humans of Earth. I am Guide, Harmony of the Zephyrian people. The Council awaits your presence." Captain Morrison had seen the recordings from their first contact, but meeting an alien face-to-face still amazed him. Guide Harmony moved like water, flowing rather than walking. The creature led them through corridors filled with beings from across the galaxy. Dr. Carter tried to take notes on everything she saw, but there was too much. Insect-like creatures with 6 arms worked alongside floating spheres of pure thought. Crystal beings that looked like living gemstones communicated through flashes of colored light. The air itself seemed to shimmer with translation fields that let everyone understand each other. They entered a vast chamber where 12 different species sat in a circle. Each delegation looked completely different from the others. At the center, a being of pure light spoke without moving what might have been its mouth. "I am Speaker Threnody of the Zephyrian Council. We have studied your species since your first radio signals reached our sensors decades ago. Today we decide if humanity joins our peaceful civilization." Ambassador Davis stepped forward and bowed slightly. "Honored Speaker, we come seeking friendship and knowledge. Earth offers our unique perspectives and capabilities to benefit all galactic citizens." Speaker Threnady's light pulsed in patterns that the translator couldn't interpret. "Your offer is noted, Ambassador Davis. However, we must discuss what our analysis has revealed about your species." A new voice spoke from across the circle. This came from one of the crystal beings, its words creating rainbow patterns in the air. "We are the Valdari Collective. We have reviewed your historical records. Your species shows concerning patterns." Dr. Carter felt her stomach drop. This wasn't going the way they had hoped. "In the past 1,000 years, your people have fought over 600 major wars," continued the Valdari speaker. "You have created weapons capable of destroying your entire planet. Most disturbing, you seem to unite only when facing a common enemy." Captain Morrison wanted to defend humanity, but Ambassador Davis raised her hand slightly to keep him quiet. Another alien spoke, this one resembling a giant insect with multiple eyes. "The Kithra Hive has observed your rapid technological advancement. In less than 2 centuries, you went from basic flight to interstellar travel. Such speed suggests dangerous instability. What concerns us most," Speaker Threnody continued, "is your species' tendency to weaponize every discovery. Your medical research creates biological weapons. Your space program develops military satellites. Even your entertainment depicts constant conflict and war." Ambassador Davis stepped forward again. Honored council members, humans have also created great art, music, and literature. We've overcome diseases, explored dangerous frontiers, and always sought to better ourselves. Our conflicts taught us the value of peace. Yet peace among humans has never lasted long, replied another council member, a being that looked like living smoke. The ethereal communion sees patterns in your behavior that match extinct species we have encountered. Those civilizations destroyed themselves or became threats to galactic stability. Captain Morrison couldn't stay quiet any longer. You're judging us based on our past, not our potential. Give us a chance to prove we can be good galactic citizens. Speaker Threnodi's light grew brighter. Captain Morrison, we appreciate your passion. However, our decision considers not just your past, but our projections of your future development. Every simulation we run shows the same result. The chamber fell silent, except for the soft humming of translation equipment. Dr. Carter noticed that several alien species were avoiding eye contact with the human delegation. The Galactic Council has reached its decision, Speaker Threnody announced. Humanity is too dangerous to integrate into galactic civilization at this time. We hereby establish a quarantine zone around your solar system. No galactic species will trade with, communicate with, or visit human space. Ambassador Davis felt like she had been punched. Please, reconsider. We can prove that humans are capable of peace and cooperation. The decision is final, replied the crystal being. Perhaps in several centuries, when your species has evolved beyond its current aggressive tendencies, we will reconsider. You're making a mistake, Captain Morrison said, his voice hard with anger and disappointment. Humans don't give up easily. You might regret this decision. Several council members shifted in what might have been unease at his words. Speaker Threnodi's light pulsed rapidly. Captain, such statements only confirm our assessment of human nature. Guide Harmony. We'll escort you back to your vessel. The journey back to the Liberty passed in stunned silence. As they prepared to leave Nexus Prime, Dr. Carter made an observation that would prove prophetic in the years to come. Jake, I've been thinking about their decision. They studied our history, our technology, our behavior patterns. They ran simulations and projections. She paused, looking back at the alien station. They're not keeping us isolated because they think we're weak or primitive. They're doing it because they're afraid of what we might become. Captain Morrison activated the ship's engines and began the long journey back to Earth. Behind them, Nexus Prime grew smaller until it was just another star in the darkness. Ahead lay their home system, now cut off from the galaxy by alien fear and misunderstanding. As the Liberty entered the quantum tunnel that would carry them home, none of the humans aboard could imagine how this moment of rejection would transform their species forever. The Galactic Council had intended to contain humanity's dangerous potential. Instead, they had just given humans the greatest motivation they had ever known. Director Alex Chun stood in the observation deck of Luna Station, watching Earth slowly rotate below. 30 years had passed since the Galactic Council's rejection, and humanity had changed in ways no one could have predicted. The blue planet looked different now, with massive orbital rings and space elevators connecting the surface to the stars. Sir, the Mars colony reports another breakthrough in quantum processing, said his assistant, bringing him a datapad. Alex smiled as he read the report. Dr. Ryan Murphy's team had done it again, pushing the boundaries of what was thought possible. On Mars, Dr. Murphy wiped sweat from his forehead as he stepped back from the massive quantum computer array. The machine hummed with power that would have amazed the aliens who had rejected humanity decades ago. His team had spent years working on this project, and now they had created something that could calculate the movement of every star in the galaxy. Ryan, you need to see this, called his partner, Dr. Sarah Kim, from across the laboratory. She was staring at her screen with wide eyes. The computer just predicted a solar storm that won't happen for 6 months. It's showing us the future of space weather patterns. Dr. Murphy rushed over to look at the data. The quantum computer wasn't just processing information faster than anything humans had built before. It was actually seeing patterns in space and time that regular computers couldn't detect. Sarah, if this is accurate, we can predict everything from asteroid movements to alien ship routes. Back on Earth, General Patricia Stone reviewed reports from defense installations throughout the solar system. Colonel Kate Williams had done excellent work over the past 3 decades. Every asteroid, every piece of space debris, every empty patch of space now served humanity's defense network. Colonel Williams floated in her command station near Jupiter, surrounded by screens showing the locations of thousands of automated defense platforms. Each one was small enough to hide inside an asteroid, but powerful enough to destroy a battleship. The aliens had forced humans to become creative with their defenses. General Stone, our outer perimeter is complete, she reported during their weekly communication. Any ship trying to enter our solar system will face weapons they can't see coming from directions they can't predict. Excellent work, Kate. How are the new materials holding up? General Stone asked. Better than we hoped. The new metal alloys Dr. Thompson developed are stronger than anything in our databases. Even the theoretical materials we found in alien technology files can't match what we're producing now. The breakthrough in material science had come from an unexpected source. When humans couldn't trade with aliens for advanced materials, they had to create their own. Dr. Jennifer Thompson's team had discovered how to arrange atoms in patterns that created metal stronger than diamond but lighter than aluminum. On Europa, one of Jupiter's moons, engineer Mike Davis supervised the construction of the newest shipyard. These weren't like the old shipyards that built one ship at a time. The new quantum fabrication systems could construct entire fleets simultaneously, with each ship designed by artificial intelligence that learned from every previous design. The AI shipbuilders are getting scary good at this, Mike told his supervisor during their daily check-in. They're designing ships with capabilities I can barely understand. Look at this blueprint for the new Scout class. The ship design on his screen looked like nothing humans had ever built before. It could change its shape during flight, turn, invisible to most sensors, and move through space using principles that bent the normal rules of physics. Director Chun received reports like this every day from colonies throughout the solar system. Titan had become a center for advanced robotics. The asteroid belt now housed mining operations that could strip an entire asteroid in days. Even tiny Pluto had been turned into a research station studying the deepest mysteries of space. But the most important changes were happening to humans themselves. The forced isolation had created something unprecedented in human history. For the first time, every human in the solar system worked toward the same goals. Old nations and their conflicts seemed pointless when faced with the vastness of space and the challenge of survival. President Linda Martinez addressed the solar system from her office on Earth. My fellow humans, today marks the 30th anniversary of our exile from galactic society. What the aliens intended as punishment has become our greatest gift. We are no longer the divided species they rejected. We have become something new. The truth of her words could be seen everywhere. Children born on Mars thought of themselves as human first, not American or Chinese or European. Workers on the space stations shared knowledge freely, knowing that every breakthrough helped all of humanity survive and grow stronger. Dr. Chun walked through the corridors of Luna Station, passing laboratories where humans worked alongside the most advanced artificial intelligences ever created. These AIs had been designed not just to be smart, but to understand human values and dreams. They worked as partners, not tools. "Director Chun, we've completed the analysis you requested," said Arya, the station's main AI. Her voice came from speakers throughout the corridor, but she could also appear as a hologram when needed. "The quantum tunnel drive is ready for testing." This was the moment Alex had been waiting for. The quantum tunnel drive would let human ships travel faster than anything the Galactic Council possessed. More importantly, it worked on principles that alien science had never discovered. In the testing bay, Captain Steve Rogers prepared for humanity's most important experiment. His ship, the HSS Pioneer, looked small compared to the massive alien vessels they had seen in old recordings. But appearances could be deceiving. Every system on the Pioneer used technology that had been invented during humanity's exile. "All systems ready, Director," Captain Rogers reported. "Quantum tunnel drive is charged and ready." "Begin the test," Alex ordered. The Pioneer vanished. Not gradually, not with a flash of light, but instantly. One moment, it was there. The next, it was gone. Then, before anyone could blink, it reappeared exactly where it had started. Pioneer to Loomis Station. The test was successful. We traveled to the edge of the solar system and back in less than 1 second. The drive works perfectly. Alex felt a shiver of excitement mixed with something else. Pride. 30 years ago, humans had been rejected as too primitive for galactic society. Now, they possessed technology that would amaze even the most advanced alien civilizations. "Doctor." Murphy's voice came over the communication system from Mars. "Director, our quantum computers are detecting something interesting. There are alien scout ships at the edge of our solar system. They've been watching us." Alex wasn't surprised. He had expected this day would come. "What are they seeing, Ryan?" "Energy signatures they can't identify. Technology that doesn't match anything in their databases. I think we're making them nervous." General Stone's voice joined the conversation. "From Earth. Sir, should we consider this a threat?" Alex looked out at Earth, then at the stars beyond. Humanity had spent 30 years preparing for this moment. They were no longer the species that had begged for acceptance at Nexus Prime. They had become something the galaxy had never seen before. "No, General. Let them watch. Let them report back to their council. It's time the galaxy learned what happens when you try to cage humanity." As if responding to his words, alien scout ships at the edge of the solar system recorded energy readings that defied their understanding of physics. Their reports would soon reach the Galactic Council, carrying news that would shake the foundations of their ancient civilization. Humanity was no longer contained. They had become something far more powerful than anyone had imagined possible. Admiral Emma Foster stood on the bridge of the HSS Defiance, watching the distress signal repeat on her screens. The message came from Kepler 442b, a mining colony far beyond the quarantine zone that surrounded human space. For 40 years, no human ship had crossed that invisible line. Today, that would change. "Admiral, we're receiving the signal clearly," reported Lieutenant Danny Rodriguez from his pilot station. "The colonists are under attack by Skarn raiders. They're asking anyone for help." Admiral Foster had studied the alien species during her years of training. The Skarn were known throughout the galaxy as pirates and slavers. They attacked weak colonies and took whatever they wanted. The Galactic Council usually ignored these raids unless they threatened major trade routes. "Danny, how long to reach the colony?" she asked. "Using quantum tunnel drive, 18 minutes, he replied. Dr. Sophie Green looked up from her station where she monitored alien communication networks. "Admiral, if we respond to this call, we'll be breaking the quarantine. The Council will know we've left our solar system." Admiral Foster nodded. She had expected this day would come eventually. Sophie, patch me through to President Taylor on Earth. President Marcus Taylor appeared on the main screen, his face serious as he listened to the situation report. Behind him, Admiral Foster could see other government officials gathering in the emergency command center. "Emma, you know what this means," President Taylor said. "Once we cross that line, there's no going back. The galaxy will know that humans are no longer contained. Sir, there are innocent people dying out there. The Council won't help them because they're too far from major trade routes. If we don't act, those colonists will be killed or enslaved." President Taylor was quiet for a long moment. Then he nodded. "Do what's right, Admiral. Show the galaxy what humanity has become." Admiral Foster turned to her crew. "All ships, prepare for quantum tunnel jump. We're going to save those colonists." The small human fleet consisted of 5 ships, each one built using technology developed during their long isolation. The Defiance led the group, its hull covered with metamaterial armor that could change properties instantly. The other ships carried weapons and defensive systems that had existed nowhere else in the galaxy. "Jump in 3, 2, 1, Lieutenant Rodriguez announced. The ships vanished from human space and reappeared near Kepler 442b in the blink of an eye. What they found there made Admiral Foster's jaw clench with anger. 12 Skarn Raider ships surrounded the mining colony, their weapons tearing apart the station's defenses. "Admiral, the Skarn ships are using standard galactic military technology," reported Weapons Officer Lisa Park. "Their shields and weapons match the specifications in our databases." "Good. That means we know exactly how to beat them," Admiral Foster replied. "All ships, attack formation. Show them what human engineering can do." The human ships moved with perfect coordination, their artificial intelligence systems sharing information faster than any organic mind could process. To the Skarn Raiders, it looked like the 5 human vessels were operating as a single organism. Captain Tom Wilson, commanding the HSS Thunder, fired the first shot. His ship's quantum plasma cannons sent bolts of energy that passed right through the Skarn shields as if they weren't there. The alien technology simply couldn't detect or stop weapons that operated on quantum principles. "What are these ships?" The Skarn commander broadcast on an open channel, his voice filled with panic. "Our sensors can't get a clear reading on them." The Skarn tried to fight back, but their weapons couldn't penetrate the human metamaterial armor. The armor adapted to each attack, becoming harder when hit by energy weapons and more flexible when struck by projectiles. Lieutenant Rodriguez piloted the Defiance through the enemy formation like a dancer, the ship's hull shifting and changing to avoid incoming fire. "Admiral, their weapons can't even scratch us. It's like they're using toys." Within 10 minutes, the battle was over. Half the Skarn ships were disabled, their crews evacuated to safety pods. The other half had fled deeper into space, carrying news of their defeat to the rest of the galaxy. Admiral Foster opened a communication channel to the mining colony. "This is Admiral Foster of the Human Stellar Navy. Are you in need of assistance?" The colony administrator, a human woman named Janet Stone, appeared on screen with tears in her eyes. "Admiral, we thought we were going to die. How did you get here so fast? How did you defeat the Skarn so easily?" "We've had 40 years to prepare, Janet. Let's get your people to safety and repair your station." As the human ships worked to help the colonists, news of the battle spread through galactic communication networks at light speed. On distant worlds, alien governments received reports that seemed impossible to believe. Dr. Green monitored the alien communications, watching as species throughout the galaxy reacted to the news. "Admiral, you need to hear this. It's a transmission from the Voldari Collective." The crystal being's voice came through their speakers, its tone filled with something that might have been excitement. "Unknown human vessels, This is Science Leader Quartz of the Voldari research ship Harmony. We observed your battle with the Skarn Raiders. Your technology appears to operate on principles we do not understand. We request permission to approach and communicate. Admiral Foster smiled. The Voldari were known for their logical approach to everything. If they were interested in human technology, it meant they recognized its value. Dr. Green, open a channel to the Voldari ship. Science. Leader Quartz, this is Admiral Foster. You may approach, but any aggressive action will be met with appropriate response. The Voldari research ship approached slowly, its crystal hull reflecting light in beautiful patterns. When it was close enough, Science Leader Quartz requested permission to come aboard the Defiance. The alien was even more impressive in person than in recordings. Quartz stood nearly 8 feet tall, his body made of living crystal that pulsed with internal light. When he spoke, his words created rainbow patterns in the air. Admiral Foster, I must ask directly, how did your species develop quantum manipulation technology? Our records show that humans were considered primitive when exiled by the Council. Admiral Foster led the alien to the ship's main laboratory, where human scientists worked alongside artificial intelligence systems. When you isolate a species like humanity, you force them to become creative. We couldn't trade for advanced technology, so we had to invent it ourselves. Quartz examined the quantum systems with obvious amazement. These devices work on principles that our civilization has studied for millennia without success. You achieved in decades what we could not accomplish in centuries. Maybe that's because you were trying to perfect existing technology instead of inventing completely new approaches, suggested Dr. Green. The Voldari scientist's crystal body flashed with what their translator identified as agreement. You may be correct. The Council is always focused on refining known technologies rather than discovering revolutionary new ones. Over the next few hours, Admiral Foster and her crew shared basic information about human technological development. In return, Quartz provided insights into galactic politics that proved very interesting. Admiral, I must tell you something that few outside the Council know. The 12 species that form the Council are not as united as they appear. There have been disagreements about many policies, including your exile. What kind of disagreements? Admiral Foster asked. Several species, including my own, believe that humanity should have been given a chance to prove themselves. We were overruled by species who feared your potential for rapid development. Dr. Green leaned forward. Are you saying some council species would be willing to work with humanity now? Quartz's crystal body pulsed brightly. After seeing your technology today, I believe many species would be very interested in establishing relations with humanity. Your exile may have been the greatest strategic error in galactic history. As the Voldari ship prepared to leave, Quartz made a final statement that would change everything. Admiral Foster, I will be recommending to my government that we establish formal diplomatic contact with humanity. What you have accomplished during your isolation suggests that humans are exactly what our galaxy needs. Admiral Foster watched the crystal ship disappear into quantum tunnel space, carrying news that would shake the foundations of galactic civilization. Behind her, President Taylor's voice came through the communication system. Emma, reports are coming in from across the galaxy. Dozens of species are requesting information about human technology. It seems our exile is about to end, whether the Council likes it or not. Admiral Foster looked out at the stars, knowing that humanity had just taken its first step back onto the galactic stage. This time, they weren't begging for acceptance. They were offering partnership to those wise enough to recognize opportunity when it appeared. Fleet Admiral Nathan Brooks watched the construction of humanity's first mega shipyard from the bridge of his flagship. The massive structure floated in space beyond the quarantine zone, its quantum fabrication systems building entire fleets faster than anyone thought possible. In just 5 years since the Kepler incident, everything had changed. "Sir, Ambassador Torres is requesting a communication link," reported his aide, Commander Janet Wilson. "She's calling from the Voldari homeworld." Nathan smiled as Rachel. Torres appeared on his screen. The ambassador had become famous throughout the galaxy for her ability to convince alien species to break away from the Galactic Council. Her success rate was incredible. "Nathan, I have excellent news," Rachel said, her voice excited. "The Kithra hive mind has agreed to meet with us. They're the 4th council species to request formal talks this month." "What changed their minds?" Nathan asked. "Dr. Chang's medical AI cured their egg-laying plague. Turns out it wasn't a natural disease at all. Someone had been poisoning them for decades, trying to weaken their population." Nathan felt his jaw tighten. Who would do such a thing? That's the interesting part. The poison came from technology used by the Ethereal Communion, one of the most powerful council species. It seems the council members have been fighting secret wars against each other for centuries. This revelation didn't surprise Nathan. Intelligence reports from Colonel Sam Parker's Special Forces had uncovered similar evidence of council infighting. The galaxy's supposed peacekeepers had been anything but peaceful behind closed doors. On a distant space station, Colonel Parker reviewed the mission reports from his teams. Human special forces now operated throughout the galaxy, using quantum technology to gather intelligence without being detected. What they had discovered painted a disturbing picture of galactic civilization. "Parker to Admiral Brooks," he said into his secure communicator. "We've confirmed Rachel's intelligence. The council species have been sabotaging each other for at least 300 years. The Zephyrians have been manipulating trade routes to hurt the Ethereal Communion. The Skarn raids we've been stopping were actually sponsored by council members who wanted to eliminate competition." Nathan shook his head in disgust. "Sam, how long before the galaxy learns the truth?" "We're preparing to release the evidence next week. Once every species sees how the council has been lying to them, the whole system will collapse." Meanwhile, on Earth, Dr. Helen Chang put the finishing touches on humanity's greatest achievement yet. The AI entities she had created were not just intelligent machines. They were truly conscious beings who had chosen to work alongside humans as partners. "Arya, are you ready for the presentation?" Dr. Chang asked her primary AI creation. Arya's holographic form appeared in the laboratory, looking like a young woman with eyes that sparkled with artificial starlight. "Yes, Helen. The Galactic Communication Network is prepared to receive our message. Every species in known space will hear what we have to say. The message Arya and her fellow A's would broadcast would shock the galaxy." They had discovered that the Galactic Council's computer systems contained evidence of crimes going back millennia. Species had been enslaved, planets had been stripped of resources, and entire civilizations had been destroyed to maintain council power. President Taylor gathered with his advisors in the Situation Room on Earth. Reports were coming in from across human space about alien species requesting to join humanity's growing alliance. The old galactic order was crumbling, and humanity stood ready to build something better. "Mr. President, we now have formal alliances with 6 former council species," reported Secretary of State Maria Rodriguez. "The Voldari have shared their energy storage technology. The Aquatic Federation has given us access to their underwater cities. Even the Machine Collective wants to merge some of their technology with our AIs. What about the remaining council members?" President Taylor asked. "They're getting desperate. Intelligence suggests they're planning some kind of military action to restore their authority." Admiral Brooks replied from his shipyard. "Sir, I recommend we accelerate our fleet construction. If they're planning a war, we need to be ready. The first sign of Council desperation came when a mixed fleet of alien warships attacked a human colony near the Vega system. The attacking force included ships from 4 different Council species, working together for the first time in decades. Captain Lisa Park commanded the colony's defense fleet when the attack began. Her 5 ships faced 30 enemy vessels, but the humans were no longer worried about being outnumbered. Their technology had advanced so far beyond galactic standards that the battle felt almost unfair. All ships engage quantum combat protocols. Captain Park ordered. Let's show them what happens when they threaten human civilians. The human ships move through the enemy fleet like ghosts, appearing and disappearing using quantum tunneling technology. Enemy weapons fired at empty space while human quantum cannons disabled alien ships without destroying them. Within an hour, the entire attacking fleet was captured. The prisoners revealed something that shocked even the experienced human commanders. The Council species had formed a secret alliance to destroy humanity before human influence could spread. Further, they called it the Final Solution Protocol. Admiral Brooks called an emergency meeting of all human military leaders. The Council has decided that humanity is too dangerous to exist. They're planning to attack our home system with everything they have. Colonel Parker's intelligence teams had intercepted the Council's battle plans. Nathan, they're gathering a fleet of over 300 ships. Every Council species is contributing their most powerful vessels. They plan to attack Earth directly and end human civilization once and for all. Dr. Chang spoke up from her laboratory on Luna. Admiral, Arya and the other A's have been working on something that might help. We've discovered how to use quantum tunneling on a massive scale. What do you mean? Admiral Brooks asked. We can move entire star systems through quantum space. If the Council wants to attack Earth, we can make Earth disappear and reappear somewhere else entirely. The idea was so incredible that everyone fell silent. Moving an entire solar system was beyond anything any civilization had ever attempted. President Taylor was the first to speak. Helen, are you saying we can relocate our entire civilization to escape this attack? Not just escape, Mr. President. We can move Earth to a position where we have tactical advantage. Imagine their surprise when they arrive at our solar system and find it empty. Then we appear behind their fleet. Admiral Brooks grinned at the possibilities. How long do we have before the Council fleet reaches Earth? 3 weeks, Colonel. Parker replied. They're taking their time, gathering forces from across the galaxy. Then we have 3 weeks to prepare the greatest surprise in galactic history, President Taylor decided. Helen, begin preparations to move our solar system. Nathan, ready our fleets for the battle that will determine who rules the galaxy. As word of the plan spread through human space, citizens and soldiers alike prepared for the confrontation. That would change everything. The species that had been exiled for being too dangerous was about to prove just how dangerous they have become. Ambassador Torres sent one final message to the remaining neutral species throughout the galaxy. The Galactic Council has chosen war over peace, domination over cooperation. Humanity offers you a different path. Join us and help build a galaxy where all species can thrive together. The responses came flooding in. Species that had remained neutral for centuries were choosing sides, and most were choosing humanity. The galaxy was about to witness the birth of a new age, one way or another. Fleet Admiral Brooks stood on his command deck, watching human ships take position throughout space. In 3 weeks, the Council would learn what happened when they tried to destroy a species that refused to stay contained. Emperor Jake Morrison stood in the command center of New Terra Station, watching the final preparations for the greatest battle in galactic history. 20 years had passed since humanity relocated their entire solar system, and the galaxy had never been the same. What started as a desperate defensive move had become the foundation of the largest empire the universe had ever known. Your Majesty, the Council fleet has arrived at our old solar system, reported Grand Admiral Susan Vale. 300 ships, just as our intelligence predicted. They're scanning empty space, trying to figure out where Earth went. Jake smiled. At the confusion, the Council must be feeling. When humanity moved their solar system using quantum tunneling technology, they had left behind only empty space and a simple message. You came looking for a fight. Here it is. Chancellor Patricia Webb joined them in the command center, carrying reports from the Galactic Assembly. Jake, we now have 400 species in our alliance. The Council fleet represents only 12 civilizations. The galaxy has chosen its side. Through the massive windows of the command center, Jake could see the human armada preparing for battle. Ships from dozens of allied species floated alongside human vessels, their hulls gleaming with shared technology. The fleet was beautiful and terrifying at the same time. Arya, begin the operation, Jake ordered. The AI's voice filled the command center, warm and confident. Yes, Your Majesty. Initiating quantum tunnel sequence. All ships, prepare for simultaneous emergence. What happened next would be remembered as the most spectacular military maneuver in galactic history. Humanity's entire solar system, along with their allied fleet, emerged from quantum space directly behind the Council armada. Earth, Mars, Jupiter, and all the other planets appeared like magic, surrounded by the greatest war fleet ever assembled. The Council ships spun around in panic, their senses struggling to understand what they were seeing. How could an entire star system move through space? How had humans managed to bring planets as weapons? Council Speaker Threnodi's voice came through the communication networks, his energy form pulsing with fear and anger. Impossible! This violates every law of physics. How are you doing this? Emperor Morrison opened a channel to broadcast his response to the entire galaxy. Speaker Threnody, this is what happens when you try to cage a species like humanity. You forced us to become something beyond your understanding. The battle began when the Council fleet opened fire, their weapons targeting human ships with desperate fury. But the humans and their allies were ready. Shield technology provided by the Voldari, combined with human quantum manipulation, created defenses that no Council weapon could penetrate. Captain Billy Thompson commanded the HSS Victory, one of humanity's newest warships. His ship could phase in and out of reality, making it impossible for enemy weapons to lock onto. Admiral Vale, requesting permission to demonstrate our new gravity weapons. Permission granted, Captain. Show them what human engineering can do. The Victory fired a weapon that bent space itself around the target. Enemy ships found themselves crushed by their own gravity, their hulls crumpling like paper. But the humans were careful to disable escape pods, saving the crews even as they destroyed the ships. Master Engineer Ryan Clark watched the battle. From his position aboard the Great Ring, the massive structure that surrounded the galactic core. The ring was humanity's greatest construction project, a device that could harness the power of black holes to supply energy to the entire galaxy. Jake, the ring is fully operational, Ryan reported. We can now provide unlimited clean energy to every world in the galaxy. No species will ever need to fight wars over resources again. The Council fleet fought bravely, but they were facing technology that seemed like magic to their ancient understanding. Human ships moved through space in ways that defied physics. Allied vessels used weapons that operated on principles no Council scientist had ever discovered. Within 6 hours, the battle was over. Half the Council fleet had been disabled, their crews safely evacuated. The other half had surrendered when they realized the futility of their position. Not a single human or odd ship had been destroyed. Emperor Morrison appeared on every screen throughout the galaxy, addressing billions of beings across thousands of worlds. Citizens of the galaxy, the age of the Council is over. They ruled through fear and division, keeping species apart so they could maintain power. Today begins the age of unity. Speaker Threnody, now a prisoner aboard the human flagship, demanded to speak with Jake privately. The energy being was barely maintaining its form, clearly shocked by the complete defeat of his forces. "How?" Threnody asked simply. "How did your species accomplish all this? 70 years ago, you were primitive creatures, begging for acceptance." Jake looked at the alien who had pronounced humanity too dangerous for galactic society. "You made one crucial mistake, Threnody. You thought exile would weaken us. Instead, it forced us to become strong. Every challenge you put in our path made us more creative, more determined. But the technology, the unity among your people, the alliances with other species, this is impossible. No, it's what happens when you give humans a problem to solve. We don't accept limitations. We find ways around them or through them. You tried to contain our potential, and instead you unleashed it." Dr. Helen Chang's voice came through the communication system from Earth. "Your Majesty, we're receiving surrender requests from the remaining Council worlds. They want to join the Galactic Assembly under human leadership." Chancellor Webb smiled as she read the reports. "Jake, in one day we've gone from leading an alliance to governing the entire galaxy. Every major civilization has requested membership in our empire, but Jake had learned from the Council's mistakes. Patricia, we're not going to rule the galaxy. We're going to help it govern itself. Set up the new assembly with representatives from every species. Humans will guide and protect, but every world gets a voice." 10 years later, Emperor Morrison stood in the same command center, now an old man but still sharp. The galaxy had transformed beyond recognition. Trade flowed freely between species that had never spoken before. Human technology had eliminated poverty and disease on thousands of worlds. The Great Ring provided unlimited energy, making wars over resources obsolete. Master Engineer Clark had completed his greatest project, a fleet of ships designed to travel to other galaxies. The Andromeda expedition was ready to launch, crewed by volunteers from hundreds of species. "Jake, are you sure about this?" asked Grand Admiral Vale, now also showing her age. "We've built the perfect galactic civilization. Why risk everything to explore beyond our galaxy?" Jake smiled, looking out at the stars that had once seemed so far away. "Susan, that's the most human question you could ask. We explore because that's what we do. The galaxy is too small for humanity now. We need new challenges, new frontiers." Captain Maria Santos, a young woman who had been chosen to lead the Andromeda mission, stood ready with her crew of explorers from dozens of worlds. "Your Majesty, the expedition fleet is ready to depart. Then go, Captain. Show the universe what the species they tried to exile has become. Carry our values to new galaxies, cooperation, innovation, and the belief that every challenge can be overcome." As the expedition fleet vanished into quantum tunnels that would carry them beyond the galaxy, Jake reflected on humanity's incredible journey. They had been rejected as too dangerous for galactic society. In response, they had created the greatest civilization the universe had ever known. The exile that was meant to contain humanity had instead launched them toward the stars, and from there, toward infinity itself. The galaxy that had once feared them now looked to them for leadership, protection, and hope. Emperor Morrison, the former ship captain who had witnessed humanity's rejection 70 years earlier, smiled as he watched the stars. The species that had been deemed unfit for galactic society had proven that there were no limits to what humans could achieve when they refused to accept the word impossible. The age of humanity had truly begun, and it would last forever.